This is the Steve Gruber Show.
And welcome to it from Alternative Studio number 1. Glad to have you on board, kicking off another brand new broadcast day here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. Sometimes you just got to find a new foxhole. Makes me ask, who should you have in your foxhole? Good question, isn't it? Got a lot of work to do here today, so let's get to it. 3 big things this hour. Number 1, seems there is a feud that has started between President Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, which is surprising to many, but she says she's hoping for reconciliation. We'll talk about it. Number 2, U.S. Marines in Haiti opening fire on gang members that were rushing the gate. Americans are being targeted more than ever. I'll have the latest on that. And number 3, kicking off on Monday. A House vote tomorrow could release the full Jeffrey Epstein files, as Trump says he's asking the DOJ to launch an investigation into Democrats' ties to the deceased and disgraced sex trafficker. Democrats released 3 hand-selected, cherry-picked emails from Jeffrey Epstein last week as an attempted gotcha moment against Donald Trump, but it seems to have backfired quite spectacularly, in my opinion, because here's what we've learned from those emails. New York Times disgraced writer Michael Wolff was coaching Jeffrey Epstein on how to gain leverage over then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Wolff later went on to rake in book sales for smearing President Trump in a 2018 book that reads more like a hit job and was almost entirely discredited. We also learned from other newly released documents that Jeffrey Epstein was communicating with Democrat Representative Stacey Plaskett during a 2019 congressional hearing. That's right, directly with her, while she was questioning Michael Cohen, one of Trump's former attorneys, affecting the kind of questions she asked of Cohen. Why was he wielding so much influence over a Democrat member of Congress on the House Oversight Committee that handled the Epstein files in the first place? Why was he feeding her questions? The email that the Democrats wanted you to focus on, though, is this one. Jeffrey Epstein writes, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then there's a redacted victim, right? Spent hours at my house with him. Sounds incriminating, right? But I'm going to argue quite that it's not. In fact, it's not much of anything. First off, that redacted victim name, as you likely already know, is Virginia Giuffre, who wrote a book on her experiences with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and has never accused Donald Trump of wrongdoing. In fact, she actually supported his run for president. And in her book said Trump did nothing wrong in all her interactions with him. Democrats redacted her name because they knew that it would blow apart their story, which, of course, it did. So what does Epstein mean when he said Trump is the dog that hasn't barked? Here's what Epstein expert, a book author, Barry Levine, thinks. Listen.
Well, I think Jeffrey Epstein is referring to the fact that he believes that Donald Trump talked to Michael Ryder, who was the Palm Beach police chief in 2004, and began the first investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. I suspect that Jeffrey Epstein, in his conversation or email with Maxwell, was saying he was 75% there, believing that Trump might have been the whistleblower at the time. Again, you have to remember that particular year, the two men had a falling out, not only over the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was taking young women from his spa at Mar-a-Lago for Jeffrey Epstein, but they also had a nasty real estate deal that both men were trying to get. So there was bad blood between the two of them.
Bad blood. The two men were not in cahoots. In fact, they were at odds with each other, which is not new information, but the Democrats are just hoping for you to forget that. In case you need a refresher, Trump severed ties with Jeffrey Epstein in 2007 after reportedly learning that he was recruiting young women and girls at Mar-a-Lago. One of those, Virginia Giuffre herself. Trump banned Epstein from the property and cooperated with lawyers who represented Epstein's victims. The lawyers have said that he was one of the only ones to cooperate. Everyone else stonewalled them. In fact, here's an attorney for one of the victims, Bradley Edwards. Listen to this.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
So there it is. Donald Trump lays out the case for them in 2009, helps out those going after Jeffrey Epstein. It's pretty clear. It was the Trump administration, by the way, that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were actually arrested. If anything, everything points to the conclusion that Donald Trump was an informant helping the prosecution and key to taking down Epstein's vile sex trafficking ring. This hasn't stopped the media and Democrats from trying to prove the opposite, though. Remember when NBC wanted Epstein victims to go out and go after Donald Trump? But instead, here's what they got. Listen.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon, did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
No. A whole room of victims. No is the answer. But instead of this clip being blasted everywhere, we're just getting more of these slanderous allegations. Listen to this vile comment from Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut.
And it is clearly the biggest scandal in presidential history. And he wouldn't be acting this way if he wasn't so deeply worried about what sits in those files. What we've already seen is immensely incriminating. Clearly, Donald Trump was at the center of a child sex ring. That is heartbreaking that the president of the United States was involved in that kind of gross, craven immorality.
Oh, there's craven immorality, all right. It's not coming from Donald Trump on this situation. It's coming from Murphy and other smear merchants. Yeah, he was the center of a child sex ring, please. Did he replace Jeffrey Epstein there? No, of course not. I hope Donald Trump sues the pants off from Murphy and everyone else who tries to smear his name like this. You can see that CNN's afraid of that exact outcome because they keep having to make these kinds of disclaimers on their show. Listen.
That mentioned the president, and we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House...
So he's not, let me be clear, not at the center of a child sex ring, Senator Murphy. What a grotesque thing to say. I mean, that's what desperation sounds like. Okay, so tomorrow they're going to vote. Be careful what you wish for, Democrats. Be careful what you wish for, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, all of you. We'll find out. We'll get to it. And we will hold people accountable. But his smears aren't alone. We'll have more of the crazy Democrats after the break. Welcome to a Monday on the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you here. Remarkable when you think that Senator Chris Murphy and his sleazy accusations aren't even the worst of it. Democrat Melanie Stansberg made this atrocious claim on CNN with a straight face, no evidence at all, of course, just a complete smear job. Listen.
Whether or not Virginia Giuffre has accused the president of wrongdoing, what I'd like to say to the American people is believe your eyes. We have all seen the photographs of Donald Trump with underage girls sitting on his lap. We know that he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for more than a decade. We know that he has not complied with our congressional subpoena of the DOJ files, and we know that he is named multiple times in those files. So believe your eyes, believe your ears.
Excuse me? No, I have not seen photographs of Donald Trump with underage girls sitting on his lap. Have you? Joe Biden, yes. Donald Trump, no. That CNN host just sat there. Should have pushed back right then and there and asked for those photographs that don't exist. Because Stansberg better not have been referring to one of the only pictures of Trump and his daughter or his children. Give me a break. I've not seen any other photographs because they don't exist. But what the American public did see was Joe Biden fondle and sniff young girls on camera all the way through Washington, D.C. It went on for decades. Yeah, that's what I saw. I want to know why Democrats are so set on releasing these files now after sitting on them for 4 years during Biden's tenure. Why? What I've seen so far is nothing on Trump and everything that implicates the Democrats. Scott Jennings over at CNN making sure the liberal panel there understands that too. Always a master, here he is.
His connection to Epstein, as shown in those emails, according to Epstein, is unsavory, and it's not good.
Is that new information that he knew Jeffrey Epstein? Is it new information that Trump excommunicated him from Mar-a-Lago? Is it the only new information that we got this week off those emails was that somebody from the New York Times was advising Jeffrey Epstein, and we learned tonight from the Washington Post that Jeffrey Epstein was programming Democratic members of Congress. We didn't learn anything we didn't already know about Donald Trump, which was Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and now Democrats are aligning themselves with Jeffrey Epstein because Orange Man bad.
Did you read those 3 emails? They are really bad looking. They are optics
They are
terrible.
not.
Oh my God! Okay, they're putting Trump with one of the victims.
There's nothing there. Nothing. Just a bunch of outlandish accusations, just like Russia, Russia, Russia. Sound familiar? I don't think Democrats care about bringing justice for Epstein's victims. They don't. They just want to bury Republicans and Donald Trump before the midterms. Whether the accusations are true or not, they don't care. Another case in point. Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee says the same after he tried to get the files out on the House floor and Democrats blocked the bill. Listen.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense, and and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it, and now they're all, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right, and it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
I'm pretty sure they're not ashamed, though he's right, they should be. For months, Democrats have loudly demanded that the Epstein records be made public, but when they finally have the chance to support full disclosure, they say no. It's clear they were never interested in genuine transparency. They're looking for a political cudgel to swing at Trump, despite knowing the files contain nothing damaging about him. What they did want to release were 3 selectively chosen emails that were then manipulated. They thought could be spun to hurt Trump. Those messages were stripped of context, misrepresented, and then amplified by sympathetic media outlets. Only deep in the coverage, if mentioned at all, was the admission that the emails amounted to zero, nada. Once Democrats put out their hand-picked snippets, Republicans countered by making the entire trove of roughly 20,000 documents public. Democrats were furious, which says a lot about how committed they really were to letting the public see everything. And as soon as people read for themselves the emails, the so-called scandal collapsed immediately. There was no Trump connection, no incriminating content, just another fleeting narrative designed to generate headlines. And the Democrats, the headlines were the whole point. This was never about justice for Epstein's victims or holding powerful people accountable. It was all about scoring political points against Trump. And in my opinion, Democrats just showed everyone their hand, and it did not work. All right, let's talk about this for a moment. You know that stubborn acne that never quite goes away, the one that ice, heat, and pain pills barely touch. What if you could target it all at the cellular level instead of just numbing it? That's how you get rid of pain. That's TheraBlue. That's what it was designed to do. TheraBlue is a next-generation pain-relieving peptide gel that works deeper than the skin surface. Powered by aqua molecular delivery technology, that's AQA, it delivers peptides and botanicals directly into muscle tissue for legit lasting relief. I could use that today. I'm a little hurting from the gym. Its hero ingredient is copper peptide. It promotes collagen synthesis, reduces inflammation, and helps accelerate repair. NAD Plus restores cellular energy to aid recovery, while methylene blue protects your mitochondria and supports endurance. Natural extracts like MSM, turmeric, white willow bark, arnica, and ginger soothe inflammation, while menthol, camphor, and eucalyptus oil deliver instant cooling relief. It absorbs fast and leaves your skin refreshed, not greasy or oily. Apply a thin layer, massage until absorbed, and let your body experience lasting recovery. Get 10% off today by visiting TWC. That's the wellness company. TWC.health/Gruber. Use that promo code Gruber. You're going to save some money. Move freely again with TheraBlue. TWC.health/Gruber. You want to try it? I'm going to be using it today. You know, Sarge beat me up a little bit. Oh, maybe she didn't. Maybe I just hurt myself. Maybe I'm just getting older. TWC.health/Gruber. We'll take a break and be back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. Welcome to a new week and a new Monday.